Welcome back, everybody. My name's Kenny, and happy Friday the 13th. Well, today I'm here to talk about Jason X, which is the 10th entry in the franchise, and the second entry from New Line. So did they do any better since Jason Goes to Hell? Well, not really. But some people find it to be one of the more entertaining entries in the franchise. We'll get to that. First things first, let's start with the goods. Kane Hodder's back as Jason. I've already made my thoughts very clear on Kane Hodder. I think he's a great Jason. And having him back brings a very familiar touch to the franchise, so I'm happy with that. And we don't just have Kane Hodder for a little bit here. He's actually in the entire movie as Jason. So that body swapping thing from the previous, that's gone. We've got Jason back being Jason as Jason. Normally, this wouldn't be a good thing to note, but considering the last entry we had, it's good to have Jason as Jason. Harry Manfredini is also back with the score of Jason X. Now, in my last review, I had Manfredini's return as a mixed. That was because a lot of the music was a little too synth for my liking. The synth is still there in this one, but it fits a lot better. The futuristic sci-fi elements just work a lot better with the music and the soundtrack. Now, the music's not as top-notch as it was back in the Paramount era. It's a little cheap in some parts, but it kind of lends itself to the movie that you're watching. So as far as being cohesive with the rest of the film, I think the music is much better in this one than in the previous one, and it just works. And speaking of being cheap and schlocky, I think a good thing about this entry is the fact that it seems like the movie understands itself better. It's cheap, it's campy, it's schlocky, and the movie presents itself in that way. I think the previous entry was a little confused. The body swapping aspect was a little too supernatural and comic booky for the franchise, but the movie seemed to be taking itself a little too serious for its content. This one, that's not the case. It's a silly premise, and the movie makes fun of itself often.
Oh, this sucks on so many levels!
While I think this is a good thing, it's important to note this isn't a silver bullet. Just because the movie is aware it's stupid and pokes fun at itself, it doesn't necessarily make it okay that it's a bad movie, but at least the movie understands that it's bad. I think it can sometimes get out of hand, and it makes the writing process a little lazy. Because if you're writing something that is bad, having a character in your movie or in your script just say out loud how bad it is, it doesn't necessarily make that okay, but at least the movie understands it's bad. I don't have a lot of good things to say about this movie, so that's one of the good things I can actually say. So we'll leave it there and good. This movie also has a lot of standout kills in the franchise. That face freeze is always iconic. But one that goes unnoticed actually caused a really good laugh between me and my friend who were watching this.
Everything's under control.
It's such a good touch. I love this part. There's a large segment in the middle of this movie where the military are actually pursuing Jason. They did something similar in part 6, but in that it was more or less just police kind of roaming around looking for someone. Here it's actual military troops and they know that they're looking for Jason. So it just makes it a little more fun of a cat and mouse situation that I really enjoyed this time through. Well, unfortunately, this movie's not that great, and that about does it for the good. So next, I'm going to go into the mixed, and I'm going to start things off with Sean S. Cunningham Returns. Now, this should be a good thing. He's the one who started this franchise. He's the one who you would think has the highest vested interest in the longevity and staying true to the characters. Unfortunately, I don't think that's the case. I really think that he's just so desperate to reinvent the character rather than stay true to how it's been so far. He gave us Jason Goes to Hell, and now he gives us Jason in Space. And it's just too far gone. I think he lost the plot of his own franchise. So while having the name back is nice, what he's been giving us, not so nice. So this whole Jason in Space premise, I'm going to put that right here in mixed as well. It's fun, it's new, it's interesting to see new places you can take Jason. And I like that he's actually in space for the majority of the movie, unlike in Jason Takes Manhattan when it took almost the entire movie for him to get there. And it's much better than Jason Goes to Hell when he never even goes to hell. So putting him in space, interesting, new, adventurous territory, and he's actually in space for the majority of the movie. So that's a couple of good things. But it's in mixed because, space? Really? What are we doing here? Where did this franchise go? This is so bizarre. It's so strange. It's so unusual. A lot of other horror franchises have done this. And honestly, I really think that this movie did it better than most others. It's a cohesive story. It offers a decent narrative. Now, I don't love the story. I don't think it's great, but compared to other schlocky franchises who took their characters to space, sure, this one's probably one of the better scripts. It also pushes the franchise into more sci-fi rather than horror. And that, again, is interesting. It's new, but it's going to take it down from great because it's not really what I want in a Jason movie. I want more of that horror. I want more of that tension. And this movie really didn't offer much of that. Now, I don't mind a few action sci-fi sequences to liven things up or to bring in some levity or stuff like that. But there's just not enough of the tension. There's not enough of the horror. Even the kills are more sci-fi. That face smash was neat and cool in a sci-fi world, but in the world of horror, it's pretty tame. It was missing a lot of the rawness that came from the original Friday the 13th movies. I don't need this over-the-top stuff. A slicing of the throat is often a very effective kill. Something else I'm going to put in mixed is Jason's face reveal. I mentioned in my last review that we had gone an entire franchise of being able to see Jason's face at least once. Jason Goes to Hell took that away from us. This one, they give it back. We get a face reveal, but it's so short. I like that she takes the mask off of him and we get to see his face. But it doesn't last long. She puts the mask right back and that's that. If she had taken that mask off and put it somewhere else, and then when he woke up, he had to, maybe get a couple of kills before he finally got his mask back, that would have been a much better face reveal. Unfortunately, we get a few seconds here, that's it, and we move on. So it's in the mixed. At least we have a face reveal, but it's so short that it can't be good. The last thing I'm going to put on the mixed is Jason's overall look. Sure, he looks okay. Kane Hodder's acting is great as Jason, but he just doesn't look great. I hate being able to see his eyes as often as we see them. I don't mind a glimpse every now and then, but it looked like they were really trying to convey some sort of humanity through his eyes, which I did not appreciate. And when they finally introduced him as Uber Jason, they continued to highlight his eyes and show off that they're red. I don't care that Jason has red eyes. I don't want to see his eyes, really. If they were just dark black pits in that mask, that would be okay with me. So let's move into the bad. And one of the first things I want to point out is the fact that we really didn't have anything to do with the forest. There's one scene towards the end where he's in a virtual forest, and that's it. And it's at this point when you realize we haven't had anything like this. The beginning starts in that weird holding cell area, and then we go onto the space station. If we could have had a chase scene or something in the beginning that put us in the forest, I don't know, maybe something like, how did they capture Jason? Or maybe Jason getting a few victims first before they caught him. That would have scratched that little itch that we all need as Friday the 13th fans of something in the forest somewhere. Honestly, Jason Takes Manhattan had this kind of a problem too. But when we finally get to the city, it's really dark and grungy. And it does give those creepy forest vibes. In Jason X, we spend no time in the forest, and when we finally get to that space station, it doesn't look grungy enough. It doesn't look dirty. It doesn't look grimy or anything menacing about it. When I was watching this scene with a friend, he actually pointed out that this room just looks like a giant unpainted miniature. And that's exactly what it looks like. It looks like one of those, just a giant gray model that you're supposed to paint that never got painted. This is also the first of the franchise, I think the first, that used CGI in the kills, and I hate it. This is a franchise that absolutely made its reputation off of the practical effects, and to switch over to CGI even for just a few of the kills really drives me crazy. I hate seeing CGI blood on screen. It takes away a lot of that raw feeling you have to seeing something horrific on screen. The CGI just cheapens a lot of what we're looking at. And altogether, this is a pretty cheap looking movie. It looks like something that was made for TV. It doesn't look like something that would have been released in theaters, but it was. This movie and the last one were both made for theaters, and they both looked awful. This one especially didn't look like something that writers and producers and directors spent months working on. It looks like something that was thrown together as soon as possible to have it ready in a week.
Okay, screw this, game over.
Altogether, I just think that the Friday the 13th franchise and Jason Voorhees have gotten too big for the world it inhabits. It seems everybody involved is so preoccupied with Jason that they don't really focus on anything else.
You want your machete back? Guys, it's okay, he just wanted his machete back. Whew.
And that's something I think Paramount had the advantage on. Paramount saw these movies, I think, for more of what they were. They were just schlocky horror movies with a hockey mask wearing killer. They were almost embarrassed by it. They didn't see the production of a new Friday the 13th movie as something super grand. They just saw it as a way to make a few extra bucks. So they throw in some campy characters, and then in comes Jason to wipe them all out. Then New Line gets the rights, and I think they saw the Friday the 13th franchise and Jason Voorhees as something much more significant and far more important than it really is. They became so preoccupied with elevating Jason to something much more grand. First, they give him these body swapping powers, which didn't fit with the franchise, but it gave Jason that much more power. And in this one, they send him into the future. They turn him into Uber Jason. It's so stupid and cartoony. And this is coming from a huge Friday the 13th fan. Just a few movies ago, I was watching Jason fight some girl with telekinetic powers, and somehow that movie felt more grounded in reality than this one. So altogether, is this a good Friday the 13th movie? Of course it's not. But is it at the very least entertaining? Sure. A lot of people like this one. A lot of people think this is one of the more fun entries. I just happen to not be one of those people. I really don't like what New Line has done to the franchise so far. These last two movies are some that I hardly ever watch. And I'm not here to rain on your parade or to yuck your yum. If you like this entry, if you like things that New Line has done with the franchise, go have fun. Enjoy it. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to judge New Line. By the time this movie came out, they had the franchise for a decade. And this is all they gave us. They made two movies that, judging by their quality, should have gone straight to video. They clearly don't understand who Jason is as a character, nor do I think they want to understand. I think they're so desperate to try to reinvent this character into somebody else. If they want to do that, just make a new horror villain. Make a new IP with a new character who goes to space and becomes the super villain. I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it. It doesn't have to be Jason. All right, I'm ready to wrap this video up. Obviously, I'm not a big fan of this New Line era of the franchise. So these last couple videos have been rough for me to actually make. Sitting down to watch them and take notes has been kind of grating on my patience. I am kind of looking forward to the next one. Our next Friday the 13th is in November. By then, I'll be sitting down to watch Freddy vs. Jason, which is one that I haven't watched in a long time. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and checking that one out. Well, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Oh, Jason Voorhees, you deserve better than this.
Too bad about Kenny, huh? Life in the big city.